Hi, good morning, Tania. Welcome. It's good to have you back as usual.
Good morning. Good morning. Nice to be here.
I cannot wait to see what you have for us today. So, we are good to go. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello for everyone who is joining or who is going to be watching in the recording. Let me share my screen. My name is Tania. I am a leadership development coach. I am a design thinking facilitator and a positive psychologist. So, essentially, my work is all about uh, designing and living a well life, designing and living a good career, something that is really aligned with who we are and what we love doing, what we are good at, and the topic that you offered from being stuck, right? How to act well being stuck is very close to my heart, and I'm sure that it's very close to everyone's every high achiever's heart, every ambitious person heart, right? Especially when we have a lot of things on our plate, and it's very important to talk about it because we all, as humans, get stuck, right, in certain situations, in life situations, in work situations. There are moments when we get stuck and we just can't stop acting, can't stop moving towards next step towards our goals, right? That's why, yes, today we will talk about it. I will show you a little bit of research behind, a little bit of neuroscience behind why we actually get stuck. I want to normalize it, right? It's absolutely normal. It doesn't mean that something is wrong with us or we are not performing or whatever. It's just a brain acting and brain just doing its tricks, playing its tricks in us. And I will share some thinking tools that can help to overcome the moment of stuckness. So before I start talking, I just want everyone who is watching this, right, to think, how stuck do you feel now, right? If you will be watching in the recording and you will have a piece of paper and a pen, just write the number down from 0 to 10, right? From 0, we're not stuck at all. 10, completely stuck. Just very honestly, how stuck do you feel in any area of your life? And next little exercise for you, write down privately. Just, you're not going to share it, just for you. Where are you stuck right now? In which area, right? It's your work, it's your career, it's your personal life, it's the question to yourself, whatever. How long have you been stuck? Really, like, think about it. For how long has it been going? And what are you waiting for before you act? What is that bottleneck? What is the problem there? Why are you not moving forward? Write the answers down for yourself because this will really help you to go through the rest of my talk today. Yeah. So if you're watching in the recording, please go through these questions before. Put this video, put the recording on pause, and answer the questions privately to yourself. So the first important thing, the first important point that I really want you to ask, to have, right, to get from today's talk, is that stuck is not a thinking problem with a thinking solution. So we cannot get unstuck by thinking about the situation, right? I'm pretty sure that most of you have been in the moment when you are thinking and thinking and overthinking about something, about the problem to solve, about the situation that you're on, that you want to get unstuck and keep on moving, but nothing changes. You're just thinking, you're exhausting yourself, nothing changes. So this is the very important point to keep in mind, that we cannot get unstuck by thinking about our problem. So what essentially happens in our brain? Why do we actually get stuck, right? So let me use a personal example. I have been working on a personal project of mine, of a side project, and I've been thinking about it already for 6 months, and I have not done anything yet in order to make it happen, right? So I can use my personal example to show you the situations we are in, how we get stuck. I keep on thinking, I keep on perfecting the idea in my mind. I wrote it down on paper, but I have not done any actionable step in order to move forward to solution, right? To actually launching this idea of mine. There are many reasons to that, but just when I'm planning, when I'm ideating, when I'm thinking about it, my prefrontal cortex, right, this part of the brain that is responsible for decision making, for strategizing, this creative part of the brain is thinking, right? I need a plan. I need to decide. I need to strategize. I need to organize things. So this part of the brain is working really hard. But we have a conflicting part of the brain, right? The amygdala. This is the stress detection part of the brain that always sees danger in everything that we do. Any new situation, any new idea, anything that is out of our comfort zone is a stress response, gives a stress response to amygdala. So what does amygdala say? It says, this is uncertain, this could go wrong, don't move, you're not ready, all these kind of things, everything, all the stories that we tell to ourselves. So basically, there is a constant conflict between the prefrontal part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, the creative part, and amygdala. And we cannot get out of this, we cannot get out of this conflicting situation just by thinking about it. We need to start acting. So the result of this conflict is mental spinning. It feels like thinking, but it is not. It's worrying, right? I'm pretty sure you would agree that when you think a lot about the problem, it feels like you are acting on it, but you're actually not, because nothing changes, right? So you're only thinking, and this thinking brings you into the loops of overthinking and just like really, really exhausts your mental capacity. So stuck is a signal. Stuck means that there is something new, right? The brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do, protect you from uncertain outcomes. So when we're stuck, it means just, this is something new. I need to work with that. So there is nothing wrong with being stuck. It's absolutely normal neurological response. Because I know that some people think that, I'm stuck, which maybe it's a sign that it's not for me. Maybe I should not do this. No, usually stuck is just a signal that you're doing something new. Let's leave it to that. There, it's important to understand when you are thinking about your situation, where you are stuck in your life or your work, whatever. There are three. I see it from my experience from work with people. There are three different stuck signals. There is fear. Usually, it's a question: what if it doesn't work? Right. So there is fog. The question is, I don't know where to start. Right. This is something. And there's friction. I know what to do, but I don't do it for some reason. So it's very important to understand which area you are stuck, right? What is your question? What are you feeling? Are you fearful about it, or you just don't have clarity, or for some reason you are not acting? So basically, every stuck signal needs a different way of working. So if it's a fear, we need to work on courage. If it's a fog, we just need to get a little bit clarity, right, about the situation to get moving. If it's friction, we need to understand what is actually limiting us. So if you are working on your stuckness situation, right, while I'm talking, while I'm speaking, just think about it and write it down. Which signal is the loudest for you right now? Are you afraid of the situation, of the outcome? Is it fog, you're lacking clarity, or there is something that's not making you move? Before I give you the thinking tools, right, before I give you the practical ways to get unstuck, I just want to explain quickly why stuck sticks, right? Why stuck stays with us. Why do we get stuck? Why do we stay stuck? Why can't we actually get out of stuckness so easily? There is a very interesting Zeigarnik effect. It's been a research. I brought a little bit of data, a little bit of research, because it's a fascinating topic. And again, as I said, I want to normalize the moments of stuck, because I have a lot of clients coming to me in coaching and telling me something is wrong with me. I can't get out of stuckness. I am stuck. I don't know what to do. I don't have data. I don't have skills to move forward. Something is wrong with me. So I just want to bring it back to the fact that it is absolutely normal. It's a human response, and it doesn't mean that something is wrong with you, with me, with us. It's just the brain and work. So I brought two little researchers that really prove everything that I'm talking about, and it's interesting to look at it from the data perspective. So the Zeigarnik effect, it was described in the beginning of 20th century. The researcher Bluma Zeigarnik was working with, she was observing the waiters at Berlin cafeterias. And what happens is that when they were taking orders from clients, they would remember even complex loan orders, they would remember it very well. So they didn't even need to write it down on a piece of paper. But once the order has been delivered and paid for, they totally forgot everything that this person has ordered. So like it was erased from their mind. So she got interested in this situation, and she was researching it, and as a result described this effect that incomplete tasks occupy more mental space than completed tasks. So our brain constantly keeps this background process running, thinking about every unfinished item, like 47 browser steps that you cannot close. So basically, this is the overthinking, right? So we spend a lot of energy, spend a lot of time thinking about the situation. We are not moving out of it, but we are overthinking, and it really exhausts our brains, right? So this is something that's why stuck sticks, because we are just thinking and overthinking. So staying stuck isn't neutral. It's actively draining your cognitive capacity. It's very important to understand. So when we are stuck, we need to understand, we need to be very aware of it, that we're actually exhausting ourselves. So the reason to keep on moving, or the reason is for you to listen to me today, to get the thinking tools and move forward. Another research that I wanted to present is the knowing doing gap. That's what described in Stanford in 2000, in beginning of 2000s. So knowing what to do is not the bottleneck, but doing it is. So exactly something that I said at the very beginning. We are talking about, we are planning, we are overthinking, we're strategizing about our problem that keeps us stuck, but nothing changes. Our brain thinks that we are actually doing something, right? Because there is a lot of action happening, but as a result, there is no positive change that we can create. So the more analytical you are as a person, and yeah, if there are like, I know that there are people with technical background, means that you're very analytical. The more analytical you are, the more you might get into this thinking doing gap, overthinking the problem, but not really solving it, because overthinking does not lead us anywhere. So many big companies also get into this trap because they have strategic consultants, they have big teams, they're talking, thinking, but eventually things don't change very quickly at least. So I just wanted to confirm everything that I said with a little bit of data, and it's interesting to see that this situations, these stuckness problems have been researched and described as well. Before we get into action, before I offer you a few tools that you can use to get unstuck when you are feeling that you can't find a way out, I want to make a very important point. I call it layer zero. Your nervous system is the operating system. So before you start getting unstuck, before you start making any action, right, any active action, please check in with yourself and make sure that your body, your mental state is ready for that. Because if the body in a survival mode, right? If you're in a state of chronic stress, sleep deprivation, if you are like really surviving on caffeine and cortisol, your prefrontal cortex, right? Remember that creative part that is responsible for strategizing, for making plans. It goes offline. It just can't work. It does not have the capacity. It's just simple neuroscience. If this is you right now, your first unstuck move, it's sleep, a meal, a walk. So regulating yourself. It's very important for me to leave you with this thought as well, because we are making the mistake of trying to do actions, especially new actions, big actions, doing things. But when our nervous system, when our physical body is depleted, it's very, very hard to do, and it only brings us to the state of burnout.
Important point that I really wanted to leave here is regulation, right? So for those of you who've been here with my burnout awareness keynote, right, a talk, I think you know what I mean. But regulation first before we are making any action forward. Okay, so this was something that I wanted to give you, and now the toolkit, right? Because I want to give you some practical tips that you can use in any situation of stuckness. I brought you 4 thinking tools from design thinking. So reframing by finding the right problem, 5 whys, finding the root cause, bite-sized actions, finding the safety to move forward, and prototyping, finding your next move. And I will now quickly go through each of those. And yeah, this will be it. This is enough to get unstuck, and this is enough to keep on moving in any situation. So the first tool is reframing. If you know design thinking, that you probably have heard of reframing many times. It's important to remind all of us about it. Very often when we are stuck, we are trying to solve the problem, but as a result, we are actually trying to solve a different problem, right? So we need to, before we move to the solution, we need to make sure that the problem that we are solving is actually the one that needs to be solved, right? So if you have written down at the very beginning, if you have written down your problem, your situation where you feel stuck, right? Ask yourself these three questions. What would this look like if it was easy, right? So we need to strip away the complexity of the problem. For example, in my situation, right, I will use my personal example. I hope it will be valuable. I've been thinking about starting a little community, right? So this was my side project. I've been thinking of starting and slowly growing a community. I've been thinking about it for 6 months. I have a perfect plan in my head, but I have done zero action, right? What would it look if it was easy? If it was easy, I would have posted a first post at the platform where I would be hosting the community, right? So I would just go and post it now without overthinking, without doing anything else. And this answer to this question actually brings me to another problem. The next question that I ask myself, okay, but what will be the second post? When will be the second post? Do I have the time to actually start running the community? Do I have time to commit to that? And this brings me to the real problem. My real problem is not to start this community. My real problem is that I'm not sure that I right now have enough time and capacity to keep on going, right? Because I don't want to post once and then forget about it, right? To just announce to people, say, I'm starting the community, just join, and then they will not hear from me. So this reframing helps me to actually understand that my problem is not launching the community. My problem is my time. I hope it makes sense. You can also answer the question, what am I really afraid of here, right? Why am I stuck? There's something. Is there fear? Is there even fear? Your answer might be no, I'm not afraid of anything. I can do it. So it means that there is no fear, then maybe there is something else. Another question you can ask yourself, what's the smallest version of this decision, right? Again, in my situation, what's the smallest version? What is this easiest version of the decision? It's just to launch the community by writing the first post and inviting people to read it, right? And sending it to my friends, for example. So this would be the smallest version. So answering these questions, you can reframe your problem. You might find a different problem, and then you will be solving another one that will actually bring you closer to your solution phase. Another exercise that I want to leave you with is 5 whys. Oh no, sorry, I didn't get there yet. So this is the exercise, but since think about situations when you are feeling stuck, when you cannot move, right? You feel like something is holding you back, and write down the answers, right? 3 statements. I'm stuck because, continue the sentence, run each reframing question, right? I had 3 questions. Rewrite your statement. So let's see. Like I'm curious, like let me know afterwards if you do this exercise. Let me know afterwards when we meet if it was actually valuable. But I think I showed you in my example, right, live, that this reframing situation really helps you to get the real problem out of this situation of stuckness. Another tool that I want to share today, you can also screenshot it. Sorry. Another tool is called the 5 whys. So it was originally from Toyota's manufacturing system, and it was adapted for leadership and personal use. So what do you need to do? You need to ask yourself a question why at least 5 times in order to get to the core of the problem. I'm showing you example here. You might say, I'm stuck on launching my project, right? This is my thing. I'm stuck on launching my project. I ask myself, why am I stuck? I answer, I haven't finished the proposal. In my example, I have not written a piece of content that would be like, that would lead people to this community. I ask myself again, why? I keep rewriting it. Why do I keep rewriting it? I'm not sure it's good enough. You see, there is another problem. We see a limiting belief here. And then I ask myself again, why I'm not sure it's good enough. I'm worried that my manager will reject it, right? In my case, it might be I'm worried that people will not like this and they will not comment and they will not join my community. I ask myself why. And in this example, if my manager rejects it, I'll feel like I wasted 3 months. So at the beginning, I thought that I'm stuck on launching my project, but actually, the real problem that I'm afraid of, right, is the identity problem. I feel like I wasted 3 months. And in this situation, how can we get out of unstuckness? We have to separate the personal success and professional success. So I feel like I wasted 3 months says something that, yeah, I feel that I wasted my life and it does not matter. But if I separate it in my mind, right, like, okay, I've been rewriting and writing, I've been working on it. If she rejects it, she rejects it, she has the right to reject it. I have the right to work on this proposal. So I'm separating the problem. And you see, with these 5 6 whys, I actually got to the core of the problem, because my problem is actually not launching the project, but my problem is that I'm afraid that I'm wasting time and it will get rejected. Let me know, at least in the chat, that it makes sense. Is it possible to not get to the core of the problem after 5 6 whys? Usually, you get to the core of the problem. I have not seen the situation that not. Sometimes you, even on the third why, you get into the core of the problem. It's not something that the Toyota, for example, described it as 5 whys, and I know that in therapy they also use it 5 times. So we are not going deeper and deeper, because then we start spiraling and overthinking it. Usually 5 6 whys really gets you to the core of the problem. So yeah, another exercise that you can do every time, ask yourself a question and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why is it important? Why it's not important? Why am I stopping? And then hopefully you will get to the core of the problem. So yeah, run the 5 whys on your stuck situation. This is your another exercise that you can do when working on your stuckness. And you see what I'm saying here? Stop when you hit something that surprises you. The discomfort is where the real blocker lives, right? So when there is something that is not really obvious, but it makes you feel unsettled, this is something where you can really find the core of the problem. I hope this answers the question. Let me check. Yeah. Bite-sized solutions, right? This is something that we always talk about, and this is the most important point here. It's another tool and a very important one. Break everything, every big thing that you need to do, every big question that you feel stuck about, break it into smallest actions, as small as you can. Instead of asking how to succeed in the task, right? How to get unstuck, ask yourself, what would be the smallest action I can take, right? Again, I already answered this question showing my example. What would be the smallest action I can take? My smallest action would be to write the first piece of content, right? So, for example, how to launch my side business. How to launch a side business is a very big thing. So the brain shuts down. Remember, I told you about the brain. It shuts down when the problem is too big. It's something very uncertain. It's something very unknown. So the brain just does not want us to get there. But we can break it into small, very concrete, bite-sized questions. Who can I talk about my idea, right? Who is there in my community that has started a business and can give me some advice maybe? When can I make my landing page to describe the idea, for example, right? Again, something very concrete. I'm not just launching the business, but I'm thinking about making a website. Who can verify my financial planning, for example, right? It's very concrete, it's very simple, and it's much smaller than just launching a big business. Thank you for the question. In most cases, and from your interactions, is the real blocker a mindset issue or a capability issue? It's usually the combination of both, because but mindset comes first. Because if the mindset is taken care of, right? If we are getting into this different mindset, and that's why I'm giving you these tools, because they really work and get you out of the stuckness. And your mindset follows, right? Because your mindset, what do you get from this? You're getting unstuck, you're moving forward, and you are getting the feeling of confidence. And your mindset shift is that, yeah, I can do it, I can actually do it, I know that I can do it, I know that I can rely on myself. Capability is something that, yeah, might be a blocker, right? There might be something that we really lack certain skills, right? We want to do something and we are stuck on this because we realize that we lack certain skills. But again, the reframing, when we understand the real problem, when we understand that, okay, maybe I'm really stuck, not because something is, I'm blocking myself, but I really need certain skills, I really need to get another certification to work on this problem, right? In this case, we can reframe the stuckness, we can reframe the problem, and then the problem will be, how can I get the skills, for example, or how can I avoid getting these new skills? Maybe I need to change something in my goal, right? Maybe I change the goal so that it doesn't involve me getting new skills. I hope it explains what I mean, what I'm trying to say. But mindset comes first, and it can be a mix, of course, because the absence of certain capabilities, right, or the certain skills, can really be a blocker. But then we need to reframe and see how can we walk around it or with it. So bite-sized solutions, right? Reframe the problem, as I said. Ask yourself why. So trying to get to the core of problem. Yeah. Next step, try to break your goal. Try to break something that keeps you stuck into small solutions, bite-sized. Why bite-sized? Because this is the way our brain can actually feel safety and let us act. And the next step, and the most powerful one, yeah, comes directly from design thinking, is 72-hour prototype. So 72 hours, why it's important? It's described by science that actually, usually they say 48 hours to make a move, but it's been extended to 72 hours because if the problem is really complex, 48 hours might not be enough to act upon. But long story short, doesn't matter if it's 48, if it's 72. The idea is that you have to act as quick as possible, not overthink and say, okay, I will delay it, and now I know I need to do this one simple bite-sized action, but I will do it in 2 weeks. No, your bite-sized action should actually be as small and as uncomplicated that you can do it in the next 4 days, right? 72 hours. So my stuck situation, you reframed it, right? This is the exercise for you, like the finalizing the whole talk. You describe your stuck situation. You reframed it. If you use the reframing tool, you really got to the core of your problem. So, for example, my problem now, my stuck situation is that I'm not sure that I actually have time and capacity in my working day to add another project, no matter how much I would love to start the community, but I'm not sure that I can actually fit it into my working day. The one move that I will make in 72 hours is actually sit down with my calendar, go through my calendar and see if I have some slots that I could still use for working on this side project. Maybe another small thing that I can do is just honestly think, do I want to allocate like 2 hours of my weekend for this project? Is it this project really so important for me now, so beneficial for me now, that I will take my weekend time and work on it as well? This will be simple. This is something that I can do already. I write down when, specific date and time, right? So I would say, okay, on Friday from 2 to 3, I will sit down with my calendar and I will go through my schedule for the next months, for example. How? First, physical action, right? You need to describe it to yourself, how you will do it. And what you will learn from this move. What I will learn from this move, I will confirm or not if I have time to work on this small size of content, right? If I have time to allocate for writing content and launching this little community. What I'm not trying to solve here, I'm not trying to solve the entire launch. I'm not trying to solve everything around it. That the community, how many people will be there, how many topics, how many people I will work, and how big it will grow. I'm not thinking about it this moment, because if I start thinking about the strategy for this community for the next 5 years, I will get stuck again and I will not even make the first move. And I'm not saying that you don't have to think bigger and you don't have to plan ahead and think about the strategy. And I'm just saying that it is important. You might have this big plan, but then you need to break the plan into small bite-sized actions and work on each of those. Because if it's very big and it's very complex and it's unclear to you, you will get stuck for sure. So yeah, the exercise, you can screenshot it and do it, but please do it. Design your 72-hour prototype. So use your reframe, your 5 whys, your design one action that you will take in the next 72 hours. One move, right? Again, important to say here that the prototype is not the solution. It's not a solution. It will not give you the solution to the problem. It will be a learning experiment. You will not fix the whole thing, but you will learn something else. Yeah. We need to move slowly, and we need to learn from each step that we take, right? This will be your I used my example, but as I also shared an example previously, right? The prototype, for example, a small action might be, I will make a landing page, or maybe landing page is too big of for the first action, but I will just make a draft of my landing page. I just write down all this structure, everything that I want to put on the page, right? Or if my stuckness is in searching for a new job, right? It might be that my little prototype will be just to create a new CV, update my resume, right? And add some things that I have not added before, and think about it from a different angle and learn from this situation. Just learn from it. Again, prototyping is not prototyping doesn't solve the entire problem, but prototyping helps us to learn and get more clarity in order to keep on moving forward. So this is the just the system that I want you to take away from, right? So acting, prototyping, right? Acting, creating a little prototype, small, imperfect, but something that you can do in 72 hours. What happens when you act? You learn something, right? You learn what happened, what you have understood, what you have felt in the moment, right? Maybe you will be working on something, you will say, oh, I'm not interested anymore. Actually, it's not something that I have to be working on. You adjust, right? You ask yourself, okay, what now? I've learned something from this prototype. What now? And act again, maybe slightly better. So this is your anti-stuck operating system. But before, right, before you act, before you prototype, please reframe your problem. Please ask yourself why, get to the core of the problem, because this will help you start moving much quicker. Because again, as I reminded you, very often we are trying to solve a wrong problem. But when we get to the core of the problem that we have to solve, it will get much easier. So when you feel the stuckness spin starting, interrupt yourself with a question. What is the smallest move that teaches me something? And then try to make it. I have another slide here. If you guys have been thinking about, while I was talking, if you've been thinking about your stuckness, you've been thinking about things that keeps you stuck, keeps you immobile, let's say, make a commitment today, right? Set a reminder for your prototype. Choose a date in the next 72 hours. Choose the time when you will be working on your small action. And this reminder is your gift to future self. That's very, very, very important. And I want to, again, stress it out. I say it every time, but we as humans, we as a very intelligent humans, we overcomplicate things, we overthink things, and we are searching for solutions in very complex situations. But very often the solutions are very, very easy. Like just like this. Ask yourself, what is very small action that I can do already to learn from? Set the reminder on your phone and actually do it and learn from it. And then you do another one, another one, another one. And as a result, you start moving out. And do you remember I told you, right? The brain thinks that when we are thinking, the brain thinks that we are actually acting, but we are actually not acting. But when we start acting, the brain will see it, will detect the action, and it will support us, because it will feel, okay, this person is making moves. It's actually not, it's actually safe. It's not scary anymore. So we can get going. And you will feel that with every single small move that you do, You will feel more relaxation, you will feel less stress, and your brain will start supporting you in your actions towards unstuckness. So yeah, this was it for today. How do you tell the difference between needing more information and just avoiding action? Well, good question. Thank you. Usually, it is quite hard to tell the difference because by just looking at the person, talking to the person, I cannot tell, and the person himself, herself will not be able to say that, yeah, I'm avoiding, or I just need more information, because we always think that we need more information. It's what helps actually, these questions, the why question really helps, because it helps us to get to the core of the problem, especially if we do it just with ourselves, right? And then we don't have to share it with anyone, so we can be really, really honest. So real honesty works. So why it usually gets us to the core, because we need more information is just the first layer. Why do we need more information, right? Why do I think that I need more information? And it gets us to there. Usually in coaching, if I work with a coach, if the person works with a coach, with mentor, for example, a coach will ask questions like I've been asking you today, like why, that will actually get to the real problem. But it's very hard to say, and the person, we as usually we with ourselves, we are not always very honest, right? And it will be hard for us to honestly and openly say, yeah, I don't want to do it, right? So I will kind of hide behind, oh, I need more skills, I need more information, I need this, I need that. So hope I hope I answered your question, but it's a complex one.
So you could reach Tania on Instagram. She's on Instagram. She's on LinkedIn. You could send her a message. Tania, if you would want to share how they could also reach you.
Yeah, let me drop my LinkedIn in the chat.
And Tania is here on LumoHubs every month. And we always, like I said, the sessions on burnout were really, really helpful. So if you check that out, and just come back every month, she has something for us. So
Yeah,
yeah, reach out to her LinkedIn. Come here, you would see her. She's here every month with something that would help us move forward. It's her sessions are really, really great.
thank you.
And I'll speak from someone who's been listening. Is They are not big things that, oh, you need to do something great, you need to do something grand. It's just little steps, these little things, and they add up and they make so much difference that you won't even believe it. You think, oh, this exercise, it just takes 3 minutes, it just takes 5 minutes. But then at the end of the day, you see, oh wow, those 3-minute exercises, when they add up to something great. Just makes a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for admitting that. That's true. It's not even the length or how big or complex the exercise is. It's about consistency and actually making it a habit. And this is the hardest part. I'm sure that you will all admit that this is the hardest part, to really make it a part of your day. But when you've done it, it's really, it moves mountains. It really makes a lot of difference. Same with the exercises that I offered you today. They're very simple, they're short, but it's important to do it, and not always we are like, okay, I'm gonna really do it, I'm really gonna go through it. That's why, yeah, um small things, bite-sized actions, but they make difference. I need to first attempt the exercise, then asking for questions. This was a great session. Thank you very much. Yes, if you want to do the exercise, if you want to work, in your quiet time, not live, please do. And of course, always feel free to reach out. And I'm very, very open. If you have suggestions or some questions, you want some specific topics to me to talk about, please let me know. Because yeah, I want this to be valuable and interesting for the community. So please let me know what is there for you, what is on top of your mind, what you would need some support with, and I'm very open to it. Sounds good?
Okay, sounds great. Yes, it does. So I think since we don't have any more questions or comments, but if you have questions or you'd like to ask them in private, Tania has shared her details, so you could always reach out to her. Tania, thank you so much. This was a good session as always. When I've answered the questions, I will actually, if I need more clarity, I will definitely reach out.
Please do.
And so we look forward to seeing you again next month.
Yeah. See you next
All
month.
right.
Yeah. If you let me know the topics, as I said, this is just the invitation. So let's work together on that so that it will be super interesting for everyone.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Do enjoy the rest of your day.
And the rest of your week.
And you too. Yes, thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.